Today, we're going to talk about 10 single-player games that never get old and are always fun to play. Let's get started. The Last of Us Part 2 is the sequel to one of the most well-known and emotionally charged games of the previous generation. The sequel immerses us in a dark but surprisingly vivid post-apocalyptic America, where survival is not just a necessity, but a true art form. At the heart of the story are Ellie, who grew up among the remnants of the old world, and Joel, a man who has become a father, friend, and mentor to her. The game skillfully combines emotional storytelling with intense gameplay. The graphics, especially in the cutscenes, are impressive in their detail and realism, making it feel like you're watching a real movie rather than playing a game. The game's story evokes mixed feelings. Some fans of the first part believe that the sequel wasn't necessary, but Naughty Dog, as a seasoned storyteller, managed to create a story that, despite the criticism, reveals the characters in a new light. Ellie and Joel face moral and emotional dilemmas that make them even more human and relatable to the player. The sequel doesn't shy away from challenging players' expectations, sometimes shocking, sometimes disappointing, but always staying true to its dark and brutal atmosphere. The gameplay of The Last of Us Part 2 is impressive in its depth and variety. Every battle, every encounter with enemies or zombies is a unique experience that forces you to adapt and change your approach. The game encourages improvisation, and the world, despite its linearity, feels alive and full of stories. The theme of violence, one of the central themes in the game, is presented so deeply and complexly that it makes you think about its nature and consequences. The Last of Us Part 2 is a game that won't leave you indifferent. It has divided players into two camps. Some consider it a masterpiece, others a mistake. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's move on. Mafia 2 is a gripping story about how ambition and need can lead to a life of crime in mid-20th century America. At the center of the story is Vito Scaletta, an Italian immigrant who, after surviving the horrors of World War II, returns to the fictional city of Empire Bay, where he strives to make a name for himself. However, his dreams of a better life quickly clash with the harsh realities of the streets, where the only way to get rich is to join organized crime. Vito, along with his childhood friend Joe Barbaro, starts with small jobs, but gradually climbs the criminal ladder, facing dangers, betrayals, and moral dilemmas. The gameplay of Mafia 2 offers an immersion into the world of crime through a variety of missions, from thefts and robberies to large-scale mafia operations. Each mission is steeped in the atmosphere of the era, recreated down to the smallest detail, from the realistic physics of the cars to the cityscapes full of life and characteristic details of the time. The cars, music, and fashion of the 40s and 50s immerse the player in the spirit of post-war America, creating the feeling that you're really living in that time. The plot of Mafia 2, while full of tense moments and dramatic twists, doesn't always meet expectations. Some characters and events seem predictable, and in the second half of the game, the missions begin to repeat, losing their uniqueness. However, these shortcomings are offset by the well-crafted atmosphere and deep story that still manages to capture attention and keep you hooked until the very end. God of War is not just a continuation of the famous series, but a complete reimagining of it. The game immerses us in a new world, the world of Norse mythology, where Kratos, now older and burdened by his past, tries to start a new life. The gameplay of God of War offers the player a multitude of new possibilities, including an innovative combat system. Kratos is now armed with the Leviathan axe, which becomes not just a weapon, but a true symbol of the game. The Leviathan can be thrown, and it returns to Kratos with a single call, and this action provides immense satisfaction in battle. The combat system requires attention and skill from the player, reminiscent of the complexity of games like Dark Souls, yet remains accessible and visually stunning. Atreus, despite his young age, also plays an important role in combat, helping his father with his arrows and spirit summons. One of the game's strong points is its world. The Norse lands in God of War are vivid and captivating, filled with details and secrets waiting to be discovered. The game offers a semi-open world with various locations that can be explored at leisure. The story told in God of War is deeply moving. It's a story of forgiveness, responsibility, and the challenges of being a parent. Kratos, whom we knew as a ruthless god-killer, now appears in a new light, as a father who is willing to do anything to protect his son and give him a life he never had. God of War is not just a game. It is a true work of art that touches on deep themes and evokes strong emotions. The game stands out not only for its gameplay and graphics, but also for a story that will stay with you long after you've finished it. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game that has rightfully earned cult status and has been recognized as one of the best games of its time. This installment of the series embodies not only all the best traditions of The Legend of Zelda, but also introduces many innovations that made it one of the most memorable games on the Nintendo Switch. The story of Breath of the Wild begins with Link waking up from a century-long slumber and discovering that Hyrule is in danger. An ancient evil known as Ganon threatens to destroy the kingdom. Princess Zelda, holding back the darkness, is fighting with her last strength, but she needs Link's help to finally defeat the enemy. Link sets out on a journey to regain his strength, restore his memory, and save the kingdom. The world of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild is stunning in its scale and freedom. The player is free to explore vast territories, from arid deserts to snowy mountains and dense forests. The game skillfully combines RPG elements with a well-thought-out combat system, where the player must consider not only Link's skills, but also the condition of weapons, weather conditions, and even the character's physical stamina. Puzzles are one of the key components of the game. Link finds magical runes that allow him to interact with the environment freezing time, creating ice pillars, or controlling objects from a distance. One of the unique aspects of the game is cooking, which plays an important role in Link's survival. Players can gather ingredients and cook dishes that restore health or provide temporary bonuses, such as protection from cold or increased stamina. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a game that combines classic elements of the series with modern innovations, creating an unforgettable adventure. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is the final chapter in the story of Nathan Drake, the well-known treasure hunter and adventurer. In this part, the series reaches its peak, offering players a captivating story, stunning graphics, and improved gameplay. The plot revolves around Drake's personal life, who is forced to return to his old habits after a long break. This adventure turns out to be not just a quest for riches, but a deeply personal test for Drake, forcing him to reconsider many aspects of his life. The gameplay of Uncharted 4 offers more freedom and variety in gameplay. The locations have become more expansive, with multiple paths and opportunities for exploration. Players can choose different approaches to solving tasks, from open shootouts to stealth gameplay. The graphics in Uncharted 4 set new standards for consoles of that time. Every corner of the world, whether it's the jungles of Madagascar or abandoned pirate fortresses, is crafted with incredible detail. The visual effects, light, and shadows all create a sense of presence and take your breath away. The game's script also deserves special attention. The dialogues and relationships between characters have become even deeper and more emotional. The relationships between Nathan and Sam, as well as with his wife Elena, add realism and warmth to the story. The final battle and epilogue of the game are a fitting conclusion to the series, leaving a sense of satisfaction and closure. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is not just a game. It's a true adventure that will remain in your memory for a long time. It's a perfect example of how to conclude a story with honor, preserving all the best elements of the series and adding new features that make it even more impressive. Half-Life 2 is not just a continuation of the legendary shooter. It is a true revolution in the genre. The variety of gameplay is impressive. Each new mission offers a unique experience, whether it's the eerie strolls through Ravenholm, where the protagonist fights hordes of zombies, or the high-speed chases along the coast in a buggy. The game constantly throws new challenges at the player, never letting them get bored for a moment. The visual decorations, meticulously crafted locations, and detailed weapon models make the world of Half-Life 2 vivid and captivating. But what truly sets Half-Life 2 apart is its unique atmosphere. City 17, the abandoned industrial zones, and ruined homes, which seem to capture the spirit of Eastern Europe, create an incomparable feeling of oppression and fear of the unknown. The game brilliantly combines elements of science fiction and realism, which, combined with the excellent work of the art department and composer Kelly Bailey, creates a truly unique experience. Half-Life 2 is a benchmark in the first-person shooter genre that has inspired many developers around the world. Every detail of it, from the interactive environment to the charismatic characters, leaves an indelible impression. And even years after its release, it remains one of the best games of all time, which is enjoyed over and over again. Dragon Age Origins is an epic role-playing game that immerses the player in the dark and brutal world of Ferelden, where they must save humanity from an impending cataclysm. The game begins with the choice of race and class of the character dwarf, elf, or human, warrior, mage, or rogue. However, this is just the beginning, as the chosen origin significantly influences the development of the plot and interaction with the world. For example, an elf might be kidnapped during a wedding, and a dwarf might face betrayal and loss of status. The world of Dragon Age Origins is impressive in its detailed design and dark atmosphere. This is not a typical fantasy with bright colors and kind wizards. This is a harsh reality where every decision has consequences, and the world around is full of tough challenges. The narrative is filled with both dramatic and comedic moments, making the story multi-layered and lively. Interaction with characters is an important part of the gameplay, and here the player is offered a wide range of actions. You can show mercy or cruelty, help selflessly, or demand payment for services. The combat system in Dragon Age Origins combines a tactical and dynamic approach. The player can pause time and give orders to their companions to make the best use of their abilities. Character development occurs through skill and ability upgrades, as well as choosing specializations that unlock as the game progresses. Dragon Age Origins is a brilliant example of how role-playing games can immerse players in their worlds and tell compelling stories. And if you like how I tell stories about games, be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss new videos. BioShock Infinite is one of those games that leaves an indelible impression and stays in memory for a long time. Developed by Irrational Games under the direction of Ken Levine, the game takes us to the year 1912, to the fantastical flying city of Columbia. This place, filled with bright colors and a unique atmosphere, was created to showcase America's power and independence. However, behind the facade of an ideal society lie dark secrets and harsh realities. The game's protagonist, Booker DeWitt, a former detective with a troubled past, is tasked with finding and rescuing a young woman named Elizabeth. But the task proves to be more complex than it seems. As the plot unfolds, which may seem banal at first, the game reveals itself as a complex and multi-layered story. BioShock Infinite masterfully uses elements of science fiction, such as parallel universes and quantum paradoxes, to create a deep and intriguing plot. The game's ending leaves many questions and makes you think, encouraging players to find the answers on their own and make sense of what they've seen. Elizabeth, Booker's companion, plays a key role in the game. Interacting with her makes the game deeper and more engaging, and her charisma and well-developed character add emotional depth to the story. The battles in BioShock Infinite have become even more dynamic and exciting. Players can use skylines to quickly move around levels, adding an extra layer of strategy to the combat. The variety of weapons and abilities allows you to adapt to different situations and makes every fight unique. BioShock Infinite is not just a shooter. It's a true masterpiece that combines a deep plot, excellent design, and well-thought-out gameplay. The game immerses you in an atmosphere of alternate history, makes you ponder philosophical questions, and enjoy every minute of the gameplay. Metro Exodus is the third part of the series, offering players a more expansive and varied experience compared to previous games. This time, Artyom and his team leave the cramped tunnels of the Moscow Metro and set out in search of a new home in post-apocalyptic Russia. The game combines elements of a shooter, survival, and exploration, offering open locations and an atmosphere that captivates from the very first minutes. Instead of the linear levels of the previous installments, players are offered large, detailed spaces to explore. Each location is unique and full of surprises: the snowy expanses of the Volga, the desert wastelands of the Caspian, wild forests, and abandoned cities. The developers have perfectly captured the post-apocalyptic atmosphere, creating a sense of danger at every turn. Special attention is given to interacting with the team aboard the Aurora train, which serves as a mobile home for Artyom and his comrades. Here, players can learn more about each character, listen to their stories, and even participate in daily activities. The gameplay remains true to the roots of the series. Stealth, resource management, and careful planning of each move are crucial. The combat scenes are tense and require a strategic approach. The new weapon customization and crafting system allow you to tailor your arsenal to your playstyle, while the dynamic day-night cycle and weather add depth and realism. Metro Exodus remains an impressive experience that combines the survival atmosphere with a gripping story and a well-thought-out world. It's a game that deserves the attention not only of fans of the series, but also of all lovers of deep atmospheric shooters. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is a game that became a true revolution in the GTA series. After the success of Vice City, expectations were high, and Rockstar did not disappoint. The game immerses us in the atmosphere of the early 90s, with its rap culture, street gangs, and criminal life. The protagonist, Carl Johnson, or CJ, returns to Los Santos after a long absence to rebuild his gang and deal with the changes that occurred during his absence. The player must develop their character's skills, such as cycling, shooting, swimming, and much more. In addition, parameters affecting gameplay were introduced: hunger, respect, stamina, muscle, fat, and sex appeal. Each of these indicators can be improved, making the game deeper and more interesting. Hunger in the game replaces the standard health indicator. Now, to restore strength, you need to eat at various restaurants in the city. Respect also plays an important role, determining how other characters treat you. A key element of the gameplay is capturing territories, which increases your gang's influence in the city. San Andreas is a huge state with 3 major cities: Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. The game offers a vast world to explore, including a variety of vehicles, from bicycles to airplanes. The game's possibilities seem endless. You can rob houses, participate in races, get into shootouts, and much more. The soundtrack deserves special mention. The variety of radio stations with different music genres, from rap to country, adds authenticity to the game and allows you to immerse yourself more deeply in the atmosphere of the 90s. In conclusion, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is a masterpiece that has rightfully earned its place in the pantheon of the best games of all time.